G'day guys, it's Mark here, and welcome to Iron Empire. In this episode, we get the FD LTD car show ready. We sort out some ride height issues, plus I take care of some panel alignment that's been doing my head in since day one. It's been a little while since I've actually done any work in the shed because there's just been so much on the go lately. But this weekend we got the Woodside Airstrip car show that Charlie's put on. So we're going to get a couple of cars ready to go. Alright guys, so now we're going to talk suspension. Now this car has only ever pretty much ran on clapped out old shocks and some springs that we just gas axed spare at the moment just to get this thing sitting nice and low. And I started driving around on that. I actually cut a further coil out of this thing because I wanted the arse end sitting nice and low. And I'm finally going to get around to actually addressing this because it rides like absolute junk. Pretty much it rides not on the bump stops but to the maximum closed travel of the shocks. So that's pretty much solid. Like it's hard as a rock. Now I've picked up a set of king springs for the rear. These were actually purchased secondhand off Marketplace, but they are brand new. They've never been out of the box. So I'm going to throw them in the rear of the car. Can't remember the ride height of those. I think they're just low, maybe super low, but you can adjust them if you're not quite happy with the ride height. All of the king spring range are the same spring rate regardless of what height you choose. So you can adjust it by lopping half a coil off or whatever. Irrelevant of what people think, that's what you do to get the ride height exactly how you want it. Now, in the way of shocks, we're going to go with some Petters Sports Riders. Now, I picked pretty much the most expensive ones you could pick for this car. The front was, the part number for the front is a 9158. Now, these are actually a lowered shock, which I didn't realize existed. Now, a lot of people with these early Falcons used to actually raise the top shock bracket to create a little bit more travel because lowered shocks aren't available. Well, little did I know that they actually are available through Petters. Now, these come with a 15mm lower by standard than a standard shock. Now, these are a 9158 if you're looking to do an upgrade on your car. Now, this is no promo of any sort, but I'm just telling you guys what I'm running in this car. These were freaking expensive. Can't even remember, but there's like $700 worth of shocks here. And the rear shock is a 8096 that I'm running in this. Also, this is a lowered shock. It's about 15mm lower in the body. So straight off the bat, I'm going to have 15mm more clearance going down, which is going to be a hell of a lot better because, like I said, it was already on bump stops. So if I was to put this in there and maybe lift it up a fraction, I'm going to have a lot more clearance than I did with these old clapped out Munros that are on it. So let's get these goodies in the car and get this thing driving sweet. All right, so you see the new springs are in place now, and the car's sitting pretty good. I'm actually surprised that it's come down this low, although it's not low enough. Probably another inch. I have to lop a little bit of a coil off to get it that 1 inch lower. I have to allow for probably about 10 mil worth of settlement. But yeah, it's pretty close. I'm pretty happy with how good it's coming. All right, now I've got the coils back in with 1/2 a coil less each side, and it has dropped the car pretty much exactly what I was expecting, about 20 mil. I actually measured the gap between the coils and worked out the height. So it has dropped at about 20 mil. I'm allowing it to settle a little bit more, maybe another 10 mil-ish. So I'm gonna resist cutting anymore until it settles in. So yeah, I'm happy with that for now. Now we're going to move along and get these shocks in. And yeah, hopefully it settles a little bit lower. Should be good though. G'day guys, so I hope you are enjoying the LTD upgrades so far. Now I just want to remind you all that if anyone is in Adelaide this weekend, as in tomorrow, get up to Woodside, the airstrip car meet that Charlie's been putting on in conjunction with the Australian Men's Shed Association. It's for a great cause, and there's going to be a lot of awesome cars on display. One, hopefully being the LTD, and also the other being Andrea's little Tirana. We're excited to be there. So come up, bring a little bit of cash. There's going to be a bunch of raffles being sold on the day to raise money for a great cause. Also, I'll be set up with a little merch stand, so if you want to come down to support the channel, bring some money as well. You can pick up some t-shirts there. Thanks to all my members who have been supporting as well. If you're interested in a membership, you can jump onto the channel and check out if that's something that interests you. Now, up next on the LTD, I've got a new bar. I need to fix this thing. The thing is driving me nuts. It fits like shit. Let's get stuck back into this. All right guys, now we're down in Jake's shop. I've brought the front bar down to give it a coat of paint. I still have my paint left over here from when I painted the car. So we're gonna get this thing all buzzed back, get rid of this white. I'm gonna paint the bottom section, the Sovereign factory color, and the top in a 2-pack satin black. So hopefully this white comes off pretty easy because I don't really want too much of that underneath. If we ever scrape the bar, it's gonna show white. It's gonna look terrible. So we're gonna try and get that off. Let's see how we go. Let's get busy. out to do a bit of a merch drop in the LTD, and it is driving so much nicer. It's no longer bottomed out 24/7. It's actually got some travel now. Now, obviously, I did mention that I do want the arse end to settle a little bit more, so hopefully it does. It's a touch higher than I'd like, but for now, I'm just going to be patient, let it settle in, and we'll address from there. But so far, it is like chalk and cheese. Once driving this car, like, it really does drive nice, but you realize that when you buy a model that has more options, like your LTDs, your Fairlane, stuff like that, you know, if you were to get a Caprice or a Statesman or something like that, the more on the car, you don't realize how much more shit to go wrong. There are so many things in this car that rattle, that do my head in, and because it's more of a complex car, it has been a much harder car to rebuild. And that goes for literally putting the thing back together. I mean, like pulling the Cortina apart in comparison to this, and then putting it all back together. The Cortina was stripped in like 30 minutes. This thing, like, there's so many trims, chrome bezels, moldings. The more you have to do, the more parts on the car, you don't realize how much it just complicates it. So if you're looking to do a build and you're sort of haven't done a lot of car stuff before, start with a base model car. Honestly, start with something super basic. Start with a base model Commodore, a base Falcon, an Escort, a Gemini. Less is more. It is so much easier because this car, I know, is going to be a lifetime of me just fine tuning, finding all the bumps and squeaks and rattles and shit like that. But so far, really happy with the drivability of it. Super stoked that I finally got this thing done. All right, guys, here it is, the progress and the result of a couple of days rooting around on this thing. I'm really, really excited about the results, and super stoked that I finally got this thing driving really nice, and also the front end is looking really nice. Now, I didn't fill you guys in. I actually had a few hiccups when doing the paint on this thing. I tried to cheat a little bit. I tried to lay down the 2-pack satin black over the entire bar and use that as a base to then put my color down on the following day. Usually when you're not under the pump, you would paint an entire panel in a primer, which seals everything in. Then you block that back, put your color down. I tried to cheat a little bit. I tried to use the black as the sealer, but unfortunately, because this bumper being so flexible, it had a lot of fine hairline cracks through it. As soon as I laid my color down, it just got under the original paint and just fried it all up. And it's actually probably the worst thing I've ever painted in my life. It looks absolutely terrible. But nonetheless, it's on the car, it's all one color, and I can always just repaint that front bar at a later date. So as you can see, this thing sits a hell of a lot better. It is nice and flat now. There's not a stupid, ugly 40mm gap. As a result of the front bar that was originally on this car had damage. It looked like it had a smack in the front end and the brackets were bent. This one's mint, and it sits so much better. I also put a fresh chrome trim on this car, which I've been itching to do since I painted it, but obviously I didn't want to put the chrome trim on an old shitty bumper. This chrome trim comes courtesy of Global Trim. They do some amazing aftermarket reproduction parts for this era Falcon. I've used them a lot in the past for a few little bits on this car. I need a few other bits and pieces like clips and new badges and stuff like that as well. I'll be using those again. So if you're restoring a Falcon or a Fairlane or whatever of this era, check out Global Trim. They do some really good products, and yeah, I'm absolutely stoked on the result. Lastly, the cherry on top is the new number plates. I ordered these late last year, forgot about them, and I finally picked them up yesterday. Now, as you can see, this is SFD, FD for FD LTD, and 666, just because I'm taking the piss. Anyone in SA, you can order S or R series number plates if you didn't know already. R and S were the prefix on a lot of cars back in the day, sort of 40, 50 years ago. And you can choose any number plate as long as it starts with R or S with 3 letters followed by 3 numbers, provided that's available, to put on your car for like $70. So a lot of the cars that I have, you'll probably notice, have an R or an S series number plate. So if you're an SA and you have you want to do a custom plate without it looking like a custom plate, this is a great upgrade for your car. All right, guys, that is going to be a wrap on the FD LTD this time round. Let's hope that the weather holds off for tomorrow morning's event. If you're in Adelaide, I hope to see you all there. If not, all good. Thanks to the members. Thanks to everyone who's jumped onto the online store. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you all on an upcoming episode. Cheers, guys.